Welcome back to Arkansas Basketball Recap, that show that recaps every Arkansas basketball game, including this one, Arkansas's 78 to 70 victory over the Texas Longhorns in Austin, Texas. Back-to-back road wins for the Hogs. Thero's got, he's got whatever he's got. Sick, fouls out, doesn't matter. The Razorbacks come away victorious in a game where, I gotta be honest, especially the first half and really the beginning of the second half as well. The defense looked spectacular, and the defense looked, it was good all game long. Uh, didn't love the officiating in this game at all. Thought it kind of helped Texas claw back into it. I just thought that they were calling whack stuff. Maybe even both on both sides just didn't like the officiating, but nevertheless, I
Well, I
like.
mean, you could definitely I remember looking down at 12 minutes to go in the game. We had nine fouls. So they were about to be the next foul was in the double bonus, and we had one.
Yeah,
I mean, they
yeah,
had one. They had fouled one time and we had fouled nine times
yeah.
in the first 8 minutes. They were shooting double bonus for 12 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think that
That did
Thero.
hurt.
I don't think that Thero fouled out. I don't think that Big Z fouled on that block. I mean, I just there was just stuff that I was like, I don't like that call at all.
Now that guy at the end, yeah, and that was another one. Like it didn't end up mattering. Obviously, all's fair, all's good that ends good. That's how he said it, just like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, the game that was one of those ones where we just needed to get one stop and secure a rebound, and it was pretty much over. And he got that block, and instead the guy gets fouled, and then he like hits the two free throws and takes it back down to 6 or 5 or whatever. It's like now here goes another. I mean, that last minute took so long,
Yeah,
and it was mostly because they were able to claw back in. I mean, I half expected it because, I mean, I said to my wife with 12 minutes to go when we were up by like 21, I said, it looks good right now, but we've played seven guys. They've played like 10 guys.
yeah.
I will be shocked if we don't gas out a little. Like they're not going to be able to maintain this intensity for this last 6 minutes. I mean, when your
Well,
legs start to
it,
like,
I think it's a combination of like, yeah, you're right. It's a small rotation, and if it was a tight game, you might be able to dig deep and keep that intensity going. Dude, you're just having seven guys play. You're up 21. It's almost impossible, dude. Like it's just almost impossible to do it.
and
Where
and
you,
they still didn't really we didn't really break down defensively in that they
mm,
didn't like really score in bunches. They literally shot free throws, and our offense got a little bit stagnant and a little bit they picked up their defense and just made us a little uncomfortable on the offensive end. And I think you could tell we were being less aggressive because we were at early with about 10 minutes to go, we started kind of slowing it down.
mhm.
And that it's harder balance. It's easier to go just pedal to the metal, defense, offense, rebounding. It's harder to sort of bleed the clock, bleed 20 seconds off the clock, and now let's play super intense for the last 10 seconds of this shot clock, and then play intense on defense, and now slow it back down. It just breaks up the rhythm and makes it harder to be efficient
Yeah.
scoring.
Well,
Yeah,
no, the positive part of that is that you're only ever in those situations when you're up. So it's like
that's true.
it kind of sucks, but it's not the worst situation to be in. It's not the worst hurdle to have to, clear because it means you're up if you're doing that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I was super pleased with how we looked defensively. It made me because here's the thing, coming out of that Kentucky game and then seeing Kentucky just lay an egg following that up. I mean, just atrocious defense. You did start to wonder, like, oh man, are we going to turn a corner, or is Kentucky just like absolute butt cheeks at defense, and like they're
Right.
going to
It's like,
make
are we breaking through on offense, or are we going to look the same as we looked in the other SEC games where we have 20 points at halftime, or
yeah,
27 points at
yeah,
halftime? And is it just that everybody eats when Kentucky's in town? You know what I
yeah,
mean? And it turns out it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, but I'll take it. Well, of course, I knew that we weren't gonna, you can't do that. You can't shoot 55% from the floor and 52% from three. You can't replicate that every game. But can you not revert back to those abysmal numbers that you had before? And the answer is yeah, we didn't.
Mhm.
The offense, I think, looks much better. Like it looks like there's some intentionality. Like they're really getting downhill. They're getting cleaner looks from three and they're making
I
them. It's
mean, they're
great.
just shooting it with more confidence. Dude, you can go back and look at Nelly in the very first 10 minutes of that game. And even man, it's so the little things when the competition is at this high level, the difference between there was one particular play I was thinking of where we had the ball in an advantageous position. I can't remember if it was a steal or if it was just a rebound. And Wagner passed it to Nelly, and Nelly was already anticipating, like, please give me the ball. And he was attacking the basket. And he was actually catching it with his defender in pretty good guarding position because his defender was in that awkward position where he's like 4 feet away from you, directly in front of you, squared up, and you're catching it with momentum. And now you're going to be forced to make a Euro step type move or something. But because he was being so aggressive towards the basket, the defender couldn't get his feet set, and he just basically like had to back up until Nelly was able to throw it in. You know what I mean? Like throw in the
Mhm.
layup. But it was, if you watch the way his body was moving beforehand, it just is, they want the ball. They want to score. It's not, before it was feeling like they were like, please don't pass it to me, please. Oh, okay, I'm open. Boom, hard swallow. Please go in. You know what I mean? And now it's like, give me the ball. I see a crack.
Yeah.
And it's just a totally different feeling.
Well, I was, let's just say this. Um, the other thing I want to say before I get to that, because I do want to talk about that, but the other thing, I'm super pleased with the defense. Really like the perimeter defense is fantastic. The ball pressure is really good. Uh, and we talked about like yeah, like the defense is like it's good. It's good. The last two games, it's been really good. It's
It has
been
been. I mean, that was the one thing we said that you could take away from the Kentucky game is Kentucky there's enough data on them, like they can play offense. And, I mean, they still had a decent game against us, but they're a great offensive team, and we put the squeeze on them, especially in the second half of that Kentucky game, and they got uncomfortable. They didn't get the shots they wanted. And this game was actually the opposite. This one, dude, that first half, Texas did not know what to do
yeah.
to get a shot. Like they were doing that thing that, man, it's so familiar because like we've been doing this for much time in the SEC games, but where I mean, I think it was what's his name? I heard him say it, the announcer. I mean, I think it was in the Kentucky game, but it was or maybe was it in this game where the announcer said they're not run. No, I mean, I guess they said it about Arkansas. They said they're not running plays; they're running for their life. I think it was
Yeah,
Jimmy
yeah.
Dykes
Hmm.
said that, and it's like, and that's how Texas felt in the first half. Like they look like they could barely get the passes off. You
Oh,
know what I
dude,
mean? They were struggling to get their feet set to make a pass.
we were blowing up screens, jumping passing lanes. Like DJ Wagner, when he's down in that defensive stance, picking you up at 32 feet, like it just looks like that looks like a terror. Like that just looks like it sucks.
Hmm.
And he just doesn't let you get around. He doesn't let you go around him. He's big, he's strong. It was great. And by the way, Nelly is a sneaky good defender. Nelly finishes this game with four steals. I mean, he was just jumping routes, dude. Like I mean, and
Dude, I mean, this is what I try to tell my daughter all the time. I'm like, one of the main things that you can really try to work on, because sometimes you can't affect whether or not your body's going to remember the mechanics and actually make the shot. A lot of shots rim out and you just can't, have a bad night. Attention, pay attention. And that's what Nelly Davis was doing tonight. He was paying attention all the time. He wasn't thinking about anything else, but where's the ball and where's the best place for me to be to get that ball? And that's what he was reading all those passes because he was focused.
yeah,
And I think you could see that with a lot of the guys tonight.
yeah.
And I
But
mean, I
I
think
mean,
that's really been the difference in these two games. I mean, they've been playing better since, I mean, obviously Georgia, they win. man, you wish that you'd had that Sooners game. I mean, it would be so great to have that win. And you did play pretty well and good enough. You just couldn't quite get it done. So, but those two games felt like a little better, but still, if you remember, like the first half of the Georgia game was an abomination, like
Yeah,
offensively. And, it was okay in the Oklahoma game, but it does feel like, and it is still too small a sample, but it does feel like something broke in that Kentucky game. Like those guys got a level of confidence. They realized this isn't a fluke. We are playing better and we can beat good teams.
yeah. Yeah, and I think even little things. I feel like their team rebounding better. Like we're not getting just totally destroyed on the glass, which is good. And we got out rebounded this game, but not by much. By three or something. Um, the Big Z comes in with 12 rebounds. Hey, there you go, Big Z. I like to see that. But I mean, a big difference is one. I just like the way that DJ Wagner is playing at the point guard. This is nothing against Boogie Fland or whatever, but I just think that they did too much watching him and wanting him to do something great, and everyone's more involved now that DJ's at the point guard because he's not going to do that. I mean, by the way, he can do that. He can get downhill as good as anybody, but he's not just going to do that every time. And he seems to be directing traffic really well. Like he's calling out stuff. He's telling guys where to go. And so I really like the way he's playing. By the way, Kentucky, I know you guys hate DJ Wagner. I know that last year that guy sucks and we don't want him on our team. I'm really happy to have him on my team. I like the way DJ Wagner plays basketball. So I don't know
Um,
what you guys thought you saw and why you thought he was terrible, but come on back next year, DJ, because I freaking like the way you play basketball.
well, and I mean, they would kill for a DJ Wagner right now at Kentucky. They need a defensive point guard like nobody's business.
Yes, yes. But so that was one thing that's changed. But let's be real, dude. There's two other things that are well, actually there's a bunch of things. Okay, the biggest thing, dude, Nelly has arrived. I mean, Nelly. I don't know if the wrist is all healed up now. I don't know if it's just the he has to get more shots because Boogie's not there, and Cal told him you got to do this. I don't know what it is, but 18 points tonight, 24 points. That's the guy. I mean, so like Nelly shows up and says, "I'm gonna be a shot maker. I'm gonna make shots." And man, we're a lot better when Nelly's making shots. When you got a guy that is dead eye from the free throw line, you don't miss free throws. He goes 4 of 8 from the 3-point line, 5 rebounds, 4 steals. I mean, dude, that's a fifth year senior guy. And I think that's kind of the guy you thought you were getting when he came here, and maybe you thought it was never going to happen, but against really good competition, SEC competition, the last 3 games, Nelly's been awesome.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, obviously we needed all of it tonight, but I mean, you can just see like the confidence that he's shooting those shots. He's actually shooting worse shots than he was missing earlier in the year. You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
But he's just shooting them with confidence. He's on his toes. He's shooting them in rhythm, and sometimes they're like deep from the corner with a guy on you, but uh, it just feels like he was just in his head
Yeah,
or something. You know what I mean? Like, you can just tell that there's just a lot of. I mean, this is the first time after he made one of those threes, and I think they called the timeout, and I was like, I don't think I've seen him smile this year.
yeah,
That
he
was
looks
like
like he looks happy now. Yeah,
that was like the first time I've seen him like look happy. He has looked stressed out. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Another big thing, I think, and this is nothing against Adu, but you know, you were gonna have to play Big Z more minutes. You were just gonna have to roll with it. There's some guys that are gonna punish him a little bit, but Big Z starting as your center and probably playing 28 minutes a game or something is probably what you got to do going forward. You're better with him out there. And that's a big difference. There's none of this Big Z getting 10 minutes a game kind of thing. I think you're just kind of, and he's going to get better and better the more you do it, and yeah, and you see some of that, but you're better with Z on the floor. And so that is a thing.
And
Thero,
yeah, he
Thero,
he he's not got great foot speed, so he's not like a great athlete. You know what I mean? Like he's super long, obviously. He's very talented with his hand-eye coordination. He's got soft hands, but yeah, he doesn't have great burst, great lateral quickness. And so he's going to get against a more fleet-footed, more athletic big. He's going to get dunked on a few times because that guy's going to get a step on him if he just
Hmm.
puts the ball on the floor. But for every one of those he also like he kind of basically it's a wash by because he erases at least three pure
He had
buckets.
he had 4 blocks tonight.
That's what I'm saying. So like, yeah, it's like, man, I mean, I'd like him to get the blocks and not let people get around him every once in a while. But it's like it only happens. It's not like it's happening constantly. It's
Yeah.
like twice a game he's going to get burnt. It's like that's okay if he's getting 4 blocks.
Yeah, and he also you're just better. You're so much better offensively when he's on the in the game because he's he just stretches the defense out. Like those driving lanes are way more open when Big Z's on the floor because you have to guard him. You can't just let him be the pick and pop action. It works a lot. Pick and pop, or even just pick and roll kind of stuff works a lot better when that guy's like a real legitimate threat. Like you can't not be there. And
Yeah.
so it helps
Well,
the
and he
offense.
seems to understand I mean, they actually ran like even though he didn't like necessarily get an assist or even do anything, but like he was an anchor point for many of the offensive plays
Hmm.
where they tossed it to him just above the free throw line, and he just basically held it up, and then sometimes he just handed it back. But he was involved in getting the motion going a lot. He was involved in breaking the press a couple of times.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's the things that you would be worried about a guy like that. Like, well, you can't give him the ball other than if he's going to shoot it because, but it's not like he just turns it over all the time or something
No.
like that.
No. So I think that's a good change. Thero just deciding also like what it does too is like that collapsing defense that happens on Thero when he drives is harder to do when Z's on the floor because it's another shooter. Your big hat can't come down there. And Thero, by the way, I just figured out like I get fouled a lot. Once if I get by the first guy, I'm probably going to the free throw line. And I think you could tell that he was sick. Like I mean, he was 6 of 12 from the free throw line. He was shorting them, which is something that
Mm.
happens if you get the flu or something, and that's how it's going to go. But dude, also he had some monster plays. But I mean, that dunk that he had after the guy scored or whatever, and it was screaming, and I think he was screaming
It
in
was like
Nelly's
I
face or
think
something. He just came down and said, "You can
yeah,
shut that up."
yeah, because they had one, and I think it brought it to like either 9 or 11. But it was like one where it like carved it under, where it was like, oh, this is touchable, and the crowd was getting pumped, and that did help suck a little bit of the nerves out. So
Yeah, yeah.
um,
And then
they
and
they
then
did that. They did that again every time they kind of like got their back against the wall. Somebody made a play.
Yep, yep. And I think another big thing was has been and this wasn't his best game, but he finishes with 9 points and 4 rebounds, 2 steals. But I think Carter Knox is playing much better than he was earlier in the year.
Yeah,
Defensively, he's better.
I actually thought he turned down some shots that he could have taken.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I think all of those all of those things are like the things that I think are like just a lot right there. But that's all stuff that wasn't necessarily happy. Maybe Thero's the one thing. I mean, he played Thero's the one guy that's been playing hard the whole time,
Mhm.
not getting a lot of help or whatever. But those other things happening now, and what do you get? You get 78 points because you can't win this game scoring 64, and the offense is better because all of those things working. Nelly, starting to shoot better, taking more shots. DJ getting downhill. Z on the floor more. Knox playing much better than he was. And one of the things that I thought Knox really was struggling defensively, not for athleticism or effort, just like not doing the right things early in the year, which he's not doing anymore. He's actually playing like and he's rebounding much better. He's just in the mix more, and I think he's just playing with more confidence too. And he shot the ball pretty
Yeah,
well. The shots that he takes, I mean, like he's been shooting the ball well.
yeah. I mean, one way you look at this game, and it's like, as the over optimistic fan with the whole time, especially when we were up by 20, it's a little disappointing to let them come back and make it a game. But It's like, oh, we're gonna beat Texas at their place by 20. Uh-oh, it's happening. It's happening. Cal's coaching them up. We're gonna go on a streak here. And it's like maybe because I mean can't deny. Like I said, seeing Nelly smile, just looking at their body language, the way Knox is playing. The fact that it seems to be coming together to some degree. The defense is like I said, it was a 7 at times. Now it's like a 9.
Hmm.
It's getting better. You do kind of feel like that is happening. Like, oh, these guys. I mean, like I said, I don't feel like we're in the same.
Hard to do back to back on the road.
It is. I wouldn't have. Yeah, I didn't look at those games and think that those would be 2 wins, but you it's in this league. I don't think we're as nearly as good as I don't expect to beat Alabama on Saturday. I think Alabama's really good. I wouldn't expect to beat Auburn, obviously. There's a couple of teams that are on a little bit of a different level, but there's the other ones that are really good that are all clustered, you know, in the middle. And literally, it's like us, Oklahoma, and South Carolina that are beneath them, and then there's friggin' 8 to 9 teams in the middle. And it looks to me like now I would give us I like our chances against all those middle teams.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't think anymore like I mean before you're looking at it, you're going, man, we can't beat anybody. We're not gonna beat Missouri, we're not gonna beat Vanderbilt, we're not gonna beat you know old Mississippi State.
Hmm.
And now I even LSU, it's like now the way they're playing, I think we're at least involved in that we're playing to an SEC level of competition now. We can beat some of these good teams. Like I said, Kentucky was a little disappointing that they lost like that to Ole Miss. That takes a little bit of the fun out of that win, or even just the actual how good is Kentucky. But Kentucky and Texas, I mean, you look at their records and stuff like these are at least decent teams. And then I mean, before these 2 games, we had only beaten one other decent team.
Yeah,
I mean, now we've beaten 3. I mean, I guess Georgia's okay.
yeah.
But like I said, I don't expect to be in that next tier, but at least you're in the ball game now. Like this team could go on a run. You could look at this game if you're Texas and you go, man, we had a bunch of looks that we didn't make and we missed some free throws in the first half. We could definitely have won that game. But if you're Arkansas, you look at it and you go, yeah, I mean, we missed some free throws. We didn't get some foul calls that could have been there. They got some foul calls that probably might not have happened. Honestly, even Wagner scored pretty well on the drive, but he missed most of his shots.
Hmm.
He could have hit. Okay, he took a couple of good looks at threes and missed a little push floater that was right at the rim. Like we had our opportunities too. So
Big Z had some flip shots that were like just right there. That they're like, I feel like I actually think he's making that more than he misses it.
Big Z um, missed a couple like some good looks at threes in the first half that could
Hmm.
have gone down. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a fluke. I don't think it was just that Texas played bad. I think we made Texas play bad for a while, and our offense is better. And if our defense can play like that, and our offense can just keep a steady hand, you got a chance.
Yeah.
We've got a chance now.
Hey,
So,
so I'm going to the game on Saturday, and I was really happy about this win because I feel like it's gonna make the environment at Bud Walton a lot better. I mean, coming off of back-to-back road wins. I mean, but if you're gonna beat Alabama, if you have any chance at beating Alabama, like Bud Walton used to be a madhouse, and I think it will be.
and I think
Night
we
game.
could beat Alabama. Obviously, you can beat anybody, but I don't. I think they are another level above
Yeah.
us, and I don't expect to. But I mean, anything's possible. If we beat Alabama and you win back like that 3 game stretch that you looked at and went, I mean, what the heck? Like Kentucky on the road, Texas on the road, and home at Alabama. Give me a break. If you win those 3, like then it will start to feel like, uh-oh, magical storyline happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like my deepest like from my deepest darkest despair of a season that I can't believe was happening to what's going on here. We're headed back to this
Yeah, and
redemption.
there's a setup there. Like they were down the dumps. They go to this huge game that had massive ratings, and they go into Rupp Arena, which whether Kentucky's defense sucks or not, Rupp Arena is a hard place to win. And you go in there and get that win. then you're home for a day and a half, and you go down to Texas and you get that win. And this team is like coming back home, and the fans are no doubt feeling a little bit different than when they left to go to Kentucky. And like I'm just painting a best case scenario here. You come out to Alabama. My guess is that Bud Walton's going to be packed. It's a 7 o'clock game on a Saturday. It's going to be packed out. There's probably they're going to be people are going to be juiced. Number 4 team in the country coming in. If you can just get off to a good start, I think like that crowd energy. If you can get off to a good start, you just don't know, right? I mean, like all this
Well, at home against a really good team, I mean, this is kind of like sometimes when a team's definitely better than you are, one in literal record and stats and position in the rankings, but also just practically. Um, Sometimes your best chance to beat them is to have one of those games where you jump out, punch them in the mouth, and just snowball them, and like you beat them by 25. Sometimes that's more likely than
Mhm.
beating them in a dogfight that's close back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because you never break their confidence. Sometimes everybody is capable of those games where the crowd gets into it and you just can't get anything going. And so, like, I mean, if we did win, it wouldn't surprise me if it's a scenario like that where
yeah,
you get the crowd on your side and you start making everything and they start missing everything. um that's as likely as anything, I think.
yeah. I mean, honestly, this is the thing, guys. Like, so I mean, most people, you guys have probably heard, like, Joe Lunardi had Arkansas before this game on the next 4 out. So they're in the 8 team mix that isn't in the tournament. My guess is this win puts them in the first 4 out, because some of these other teams lost, by the way, that were also on the bubble. So over the last 2 days, so they're probably in the last 4 out right now. But I'll tell you this: if on Saturday you beat Alabama next week, you're in the tournament. Like, you're not like a lock or anything like that, but you're like the last 4 in. You're going to Dayton for the play-in games, or I don't know what. But like you knock down those three games in a row, and you in the course of a week, you will have went from not anywhere near it to just barely in it. And uh, just that, I'll be like, dude, this season just got way more interesting and fun.
What if somehow
And by the way,
Kentucky.
and don't freak out if we don't beat Alabama. The the just the fact if you could like win 2 out of those 3, you split this week. You're again that it's not going to hurt you that bad to lose to Alabama, and you're still right in the. You're still like you got work to do, but
Oh,
you just got to chip
you got a
away.
lot of work to do no matter what, you win
Yeah,
or lose. But yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not going to be like, well, back to, we're not making like, I mean, I we will probably lose to Alabama. I think we'll lose to, the Alabamas and Auburns, but I think we have a good chance on any given night to beat the Missouris, Vanderbilts, all Mississippi States, Texas A&Ms. Those teams, we're playing at that level right now.
hey, going into this game, you had 10 games left. To have any chance at all, you got to win 5. If you want to if you want to be in, you need to win 6 and you won 1. Now you got 9. So like you won the first, you got one of them out of the way. And so
Mhm.
you're trying to win more than you lose. And does this team look like they can possibly do that? Yeah, it's not like crazy anymore where you're like, can they win? Can they win? Can they split? But now you're in a situation where you got 9 games left. Can you win 5 of them? Because if you can, you're in. And it's like, well, I'm not saying they will, but they look like it's possible.
Mhm.
That they're good enough to at least be in the fight. And man, I tell you what, that's a big improvement from 7 days ago.
Yep. Yep. I like it. I mean,
You got a player of the game? Is it Nelly Davis? Player of the week. Nelly Davis, player of the freaking week.
yeah, although that was I mean, yeah, I think it probably was him, but that was another all around everybody. I mean, Wagner played. It'd be hard to win that game without Wagner. I mean,
It would be.
and it'd be hard to win that game without Thoreau.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty well spread out as far as like everybody's contributing. in their own way.
By the way, even I'll give you two guys. It was funny. So Jonas didn't play that much, but he got in there for like just a second. He's like, "Shot clock's running
Hit that
down.
fadeaway jump
Let
shot.
me hit this fadeaway baseline in your face. How about that?" You're like, "Oh, all right, Jonas, that's good." And then Billy Richmond, who he played a little bit more, and I thought he played well. But you got like that block at the end, dude. That guy, like, I mean, Billy Richmond. I mean, I know he can jump, but every time, like, good grief, dude. Like
Well,
he was up there, dude.
he has like he's got to have like the highlights per minute because he can't stay in the game because he fouls so much and he doesn't have the ball that much because he's not that kind of player. But he'll get a highlight every game. I mean, that
Yep.
block and that dunk from the Kentucky game are some of the best things I've seen. And I do kind of like, I mean, that Billy Richmond is not like a solid part of the rotation. He's basically like get out, like it feels like he's like a almost like a goon, but not quite, where it's like, hey, we need some physicality and some energy. Go out there. I know you're gonna get two fouls in the next 3 minutes for sure. So, but like just go out there and get a
Yeah.
steal, frustrate somebody, get a block,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what he's averaging. He's probably playing. I don't know. I don't have the. Let me see if I refresh this. Maybe they've updated it. I mean, I'm guessing he played 12 minutes or something. 9 minutes. He played 9 minutes. That's about what he's playing, right? Like 10 minutes a game, something like that. But I like his 10 minutes. And by the way, you need him because, I mean, Nelly Davis played 39 minutes. DJ Wagner played 37 minutes. Carter Knox played 36 minutes. Dude, Big Z played 35 minutes this game. You know, Thero played 22. He probably would have played more than that if he wasn't sick. But, you know, those guys can't play the whole game. They dang near. But like
Oh, that's another.
Billy's got to go in there for 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, just so those guys can drink some water and catch their breath.
That's another reason why we need to win some of these regular season games and try to get off the bubble so that we're in. Because this team is not built for. They might be built okay for. Well, I would be nervous even about the tournament, like playing games with only 24 hours between,
Yeah,
48, I guess. Might be rough on these guys' legs playing those kind of minutes, but an SEC tournament run, dude, how could you those are back to back. That's like play
yeah,
at 11 on Wednesday, play at 1 o'clock on Thursday, play at 3 o'clock on Friday. It's like, I
yeah,
mean, this team, I mean, dude, their legs would fall off.
yeah.
So
Man, I
I'd
can't.
like to not
Yeah,
have to try to make a SEC tournament run.
man, looking at that, yeah, Big Z 35 minutes. I mean, that's a lot of minutes for him. I mean, that's a lot. Uh, needed, I guess, dude. Well, all right. Well, I think we can leave it there, man. Woo pig. You know what I loved seeing is like it's like Arkansas sections in Texas's stadium, and then like you
I
hear the
thought I
hall.
heard it might have been
You're
it might have
look.
been the cheerleaders. Was it the cheerleaders or was it the
No, dude,
fans?
they had some fans like that were like positioned in there together, and they showed them calling those hogs, and they were then surrounded by Texas people, and they didn't look like they were fans of that.
No, it's got to be, dude. That's got to be annoying. I mean, I like the Woo Pig Sooie, of course, but that's got to be annoying for people to be doing in your own stadium.
And Texas is just close enough, and you know, a lot of people. There's like, you know, it's not like a small amount of people that have relocated from like Arkansas to Texas. It's not, that's a pretty common thing. Vice versa too. Yeah, dude, just just having a bunch of Arkansas fans in there.
My wife's cousin, the one we go visit up in Wichita all the time. He's like the biggest Texas fan.
Yeah, yeah, it just
So
happens. It just happens like that. But um, yeah, it was that was pretty funny to hear that's gotta be super obnoxious.
yeah, I'm trying to think of a just a cheer that would be. I mean,
No, dude, it's
I don't know if there's one that's more annoying than that.
I
Like,
love it, but like if you're not from Arkansas and you hate and you just are like, what is that? Like I totally get it. I love it.
yeah,
But
because
yeah.
the what is it? Is it the Seminoles? The
Uh,
like thing like that's I mean that's in the same ballpark, but the high pitched woo is worse. Like it's
dude,
definitely more obnoxious.
if you're a Texas fan and you're just like about to lose this game and then you just start hearing ooh, it's gotta be the worst. Like right behind your head or something.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. Uh, hey man, hey pigs, you want to get the state all behind you? Beat Kentucky and Texas back to back on the road. Because, I mean, is there anything that Arkansas fans like more than beating Kentucky and Texas?
I can't. I mean, if dude, that's what's man. If we had beat Oklahoma, dude, that would have been the trifecta.
I know. I know. Don't foul those 3 point shooters. Hey, we didn't foul anyone shooting a three tonight. Also, improvement because we had done that back
We
to
had
back
we had a
games.
chance to beat Missouri too. I mean, not really because but that would have been the real. We'll just beat all the states that touch us
Yeah, dude.
around us.
Hey, we get another shot at Missouri. We'll see. All right, man. Well, let's leave
They
it there.
they look pretty good. Although I think they lost to Tennessee
Yeah,
tonight, but
they did lose tonight, but a lot of teams look
it's a
good, and they all have to play each other, so someone's got to lose these
I know
games.
Tennessee wins one, loses one. Everybody win. Like I said, all these other teams, other than unless you're Auburn, which you never lose, and all Alabama and Florida lose a little bit more rarely, but everybody else is like every other night, dude. I mean, it's hard to beat. It's hard to string together wins. That's why I'm ecstatic about stringing together two wins.
On the road, it's really
Yeah.
like I don't know if you noticed, but like in the SEC this year, losing at home is not a good thing, and Arkansas has done some of it, so it was really good to get those wins back because that's basically what every team's trying to do. Is like, dude, if we can hold serve at home, we're golden, and Arkansas did not do that, but they've picked two up on the road, so that helps. All right, man. Well,
All right. See you guys.
we'll see you next time. Woo pig.
Get some footage on that at that game that we can cut into the front of the next video
I'll do it. I'll do it.
of the ending. Record the final game winning dunk.
The oop to Thero like that ends it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right, bro. See ya.
Yeah.